Welcome to episode 5 of the Normless Performance Series. This is Ari George.
Well, welcome to the podcast, mate. You should be saying welcome to the studio. Here we are in the White Key Marketing headquarters in Parramatta. Mate, it's been a long time since I've last touched base with you, but lots changed in that time. You've come a long way in the marketing space. So I guess how does it feel to have put yourself now in this position where you can have a studio like this and be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor?
Gosh, well, what's it been, 8 years?
Well, that's what we were saying before we came on air, right? 2017, I think, was when I really got engulfed in the fitness scene, and you were a big part of that. One of those individuals I kind of looked up to at the start of the journey. But yeah, I think it's been about, 6 or 7 years?
I tell you, it's got to be 8 years because I was a personal trainer back then.
Yeah.
And I started White Key 8 years ago, and I was a personal trainer back then. And
take us back to that time, because I remember.
How far are we going back?
So what happened, guys, for those listening, I guess just to set the scene of how I met Ari. At university, I think it was 2016. I remember I was studying with my mate Savio after hours for an exam, and I remember going on Facebook. My dad had messaged me and said, "Hey, Peter, Ari's dad, who's a lawyer," because my dad was working with him, and said, "Hey, Peter's got a son called Ari, and he's into the fitness stuff that you've been looking into, the bodybuilding."
The fitness stuff. That's such a dad way.
The fitness stuff.
The fitness stuff.
You should get in contact with him. Here's his Facebook. And I went on your Facebook. I remember looking at the cover photo of you at the A&B Universe, and where you won the overall titles for the fitness model division. And I remember looking at that, and it was just like, wow. Like, if I could achieve that stage conditioning, do I think that's possible? Would I be able to achieve that? And I remember reaching out to you. I was probably a little bit hesitant, a little bit nervous. And then all things went well. You said, "Come on down to Gladesville." And I came into your home gym, and you offered me, I think it was a tub of rice and some chicken. And one thing that stuck with me when I left was,
go on,
you're in the off season, mate. You got to eat as much food as you can and put on as much size. And I remember I took that so literally. It got to like 120 kilos. I was like full bear mode, water buffalo. And I remember you probably still got the progress pics, but I just went on a year.
I would.
Yeah. And we should probably pop them up on the socials, on the stories. But
you know what? I feel like it's funny because when I used to PT, I had folders that would save everyone.
Yeah.
And I can figure out how I see all folders because I used to log all my clients. I've got
They went full.
I got it. I literally got it. Hayden Kelly progress pics. Are we going to show it?
Can we see that?
Yeah, we can show that.
Get it on the screen.
So, no, I tell you, this is 5th of January 2017. Here he is. That's at the AG Fitness headquarters.
I'm going to get it up on the YouTube. There'll probably be someone.
AKA my garage.
And yeah, so
I'll send them to you.
Went full bear mode for about a year or so. And I tell you what, it was the best thing I ever did. Like, my insulin sensitivity was probably shit.
Oh, wait, I got you at that. Here we go. Yeah,
look at that. That's full bear mode. Like, if you've seen Jeff Nippard at the moment, that's just, that's a solid 20 to 30% body fat. And basically just took Ari's word for it. And I just ate as much as I could. I remember cooking up, if you ask my mum, I was cooking up massive tubs of rice, had them in the fridge, chicken breast, broccoli, and I was literally just shoveling food all day, hitting the gym twice a day for a year.
Hey, time's good back then, just simple.
Simple. And this was like uni times.
Yeah.
I'd be at the beach in the sun, studying, hanging out with mates, going to the chicken shop, training hard. Life was simple. Yeah. And, but I remember it was so empowering because I could see the way my body was changing. And then I think we got ready to pull the pin and start a prep for the first time. And I remember you called Bart, who he prepped me for a couple seasons, but I remember you looked up to Bart.
Yep.
And I remember Bart said to you, he said, I don't know, like, can I trust him? Is he trustworthy? Do you remember that conversation you had?
Yeah.
And I remember, I think that was when you guys like started to see my actual character come through. And I think we bonded because, you know, yourself, obviously, we'll get into talking a lot about white key marketing and what you've been able to do in this social media space and your presence online. But I think Bart as well, with his real estate work he does in real estate and his own hustling with his own fitness endeavors, and then what I guess I'm doing with these podcasts and work-wise and study, I think we both really connected well because we were all so driven, and fitness was like the one unifying factor that brought us all together. It was like I connected with you through fitness, you connected with Bart through fitness, and fitness has been almost like the beacon that's guided me through life. Like whenever anything's challenging, I've had to go through any shit, like the one thing that anchors me every day is just going to the gym and crushing it. And that's really been what my whole life's been built around. So I think I have a lot to owe you. I was always ingrained in the health side of things, like the physiology. But in terms of this whole bodybuilding lifestyle that I've kind of engulfed myself in, a lot to do with that is thanks to you. So
No, awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. That's great, and it's one of those things where it's that military mindset.
yeah.
And you know, when
It's Goggins.
early,
Who's gonna carry the boats?
yeah, well, early days, like it's funny because you'll be training and then you'll get the family members and whatever it may be. Oh, you're obsessed, and it's not about growing. It's not about growing a tricep. It's not about that. It's what it does for you mentally.
Literally, yeah.
And it's one of those things where you have a solid session in the morning, and then you just feel like you can take on the world.
Yeah.
And it's that. It's just like every day you've got to reinvent yourself. You've got to get into the trenches, and then everything's easy. You could go to work and someone could spit you in the face, and you'd just be happy. You'd just be like, "Yeah, let's go. Today's a good day." So it's so important.
Yeah, this prep I recently did was one of the toughest, probably the toughest periods of my life at the moment, as we spoke about with Dad and other related stuff. But yeah, I think you're right. It's like your armor.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I look at it in the way too. When you say armor, you know, bad shit's going to happen. It's the inevitable. You know, the people that, you know, we love, there's going to be an expiry date on that. There's going to be lots of bad things that happen. But I do believe that if you can equip yourself with the strongest character possible and just have your shit together in multiple facets of life in regards to relationships, you get it right in the fitness world, you get it right, you know, being able to stand on your own feet. And basically, I believe that it can kind of prepares you for those kind of times that when you are in the dumps and something happens, armor.
How's fitness equipped you for?
Gosh.
We'll explore more of the, I guess, the intricacies of the in and out, like the daily in and out of what you do, and you know some of the key strategies and tips you have for other people, whether it be business owners trying to market their business or those that are actually trying to start up their own agency, for instance. But like from the very early days, how did fitness ground you? Because I remember you on your phone, we were at, I think, Kingdom Gym, and we were about to work out, and you were just pumping out posts on your phone. And like from the outside looking in, it can seem like very superficial. Like you've literally downloaded this app off the App Store. You're pushing out content. Like how are you going to generate a large amount of wealth through this kind of posting? So it's one of those things, like I think you'd be really diligent, and you also got to really trust yourself, right? Because it's just like fitness. It's a long game.
Definitely. And I think that I think everybody's fitness journey, it's kind of ever growing. I think we talk about a young man when he first starts training, it's about the girls or whatever you're into.
They're short-lived.
Whatever you're into, but it's about the girls. When
Yeah.
you first start, you're talking about, you know, I remember I was about 17 years old. I remember I had skinny ass arms. I used to go to parties and pop on a t-shirt, and I used to look at the God, you know, you need to be. I used to do push-ups in my bedroom, and then I remember I obviously I think I was 16 actually, and I obviously don't have the car to go to the gym, so I convinced my parents, like, can I have some weights type thing.
Yeah.
And I remember I got a room in the house, and I just every morning at 5:30 a.m. We had to jump on the bus to go to school. After that, I would just be had a 5. I think I went on. I think it was on bodybuilding.com back then, and I had this routine, and it was, I used to wait. It would have been pitch black, and I would just train for a good hour.
Yeah.
Just pump music, got my hands on some pre-workout, and when you get those kind of little comments, oh, you've been training, you just get. I think as a young man, you just get empowered.
Yeah.
Type thing. And I think it's ever growing. I mean, after that, then you find, okay, so it's not the you kind of get over that kind of stage of, oh, you just do it, just for looks, and then you figure out how much of an impact it plays mentally. Like when you train, you're able to basically you put that in, everything else in life somehow falls into place. Magically falls into place. Like you bang out a 6 session and then just things fall into place. I believe it's a frequency. But I remember when I came out of school, I didn't. I went to a private boys' school. Parents invested a lot of money into myself, and I did not come out with a result. And I remember throughout school, I had a chip on my shoulder. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I had a chip on my shoulder. I always thought I was I always thought I was the man. I used to sell chocolates and do little side hustles and this and that. I used to talk back to the teachers, and I used to run a bit of a muck. And I used to have, I don't know, this chip on my shoulder that, I was.
The world owes you something.
Yeah. And I don't know if that was a private boys' school thing or whatever it may be, but coming out of a private boys' school like King's, you come out to the real world, and it's just a slap in the face. It's like no one actually cares about you.
Yeah, it's a real. I noticed that too. For me, that time in my life kind of came. It was really weird because during COVID, right? So I finished university, graduated, came out. I was a subcontractor for a company which was basically working within the DVA, the Department of Veteran Affairs. So working with individuals who had been traumatized through war, and so forth. And I was prepping at this time too, so it was like the work was good, pretty steady. I was doing a prep, and it all went very quickly. And then I landed this job with Diabetes New South Wales and ACT. And then after I started with them, all of the work we were doing for me during my induction was like traveling to Perth for some training, doing these online modules, and working from home on the phones and this kind of thing. And then we went into lockdown with COVID. And so I was forced to work from home, and I went, how good's this? I got a stable income. I don't have to leave the house. I can do my runs, my training. I started doing my master's degree, which I've completed throughout COVID. And I was like, how good's this? It was like this seamless transition through school, through university, through masters. I got a stable job. Everything was great, right? And then out of COVID, once we came out of COVID, that was really when I noticed it was like entering this new world, going up to do this PhD, having to manage my time, buying my first property, and now having a mortgage I had to manage, friends moving in different ways. Some of my uni friends having children, while you're pursuing further study and traveling around. So you sort of see the way the world changes. And I've always questioned whether it's me that is maturing and seeing the way that people are becoming so fixated on their phones, so materialistic, closed off from the world? Or is this the way it's always been? And this is one of those things that I really wanted to discuss with you, because you being so engaged with businesses and understanding how your customers and consumers interact with content online and understanding their behaviors in terms of how they purchase or spend their money. Do you think that it's something that has always been there, or do you think the growth of social media and the way times have changed in the 21st century has kind of influenced the way that we as humans behave now, like being very closed off and so fixated on our phones?
Yeah, well, it's like this. The average Aussie spends over 5.5 hours on their phone every single day.
Wow.
Okay, that's over 39 hours per week. That's over
usage,
2,000 hours per year on their phones. And that right there is only growing.
Yeah.
You've also got over 85% of Aussies on Instagram and Facebook, and that's increasing. That's increasing every single year. What's happening right now from a behavioral point of view as time is going by is individuals, these social platforms like your TikTok and your Instagram, etc., the engineers creating these platforms and maintain these platforms are optimizing it for you to spend more time on them. Attention is a new currency.
Yeah.
And, a cross-section of humans, what are we, 7-8 billion, we're not becoming stronger.
Yeah.
If anything, we're becoming weaker. We're becoming weaker. And these are becoming even better.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is people are going to be more and more fixated on their phone more than ever. We talk about, has this positively or negatively affected the psychology of, let's talk about Australians. Let's talk about Australians, because to be honest, how many countries really have access to these things?
Yeah.
I mean, so let's talk about Australia. That's only going to be growing, in the average attention span of a human being on these things is 3 seconds. It's less than the goldfish. So and that 3 seconds is going to get smaller and smaller. It is affecting our brains.
Yeah.
And I think as time goes by, the generations, that's going to be a genetic thing that individuals are just going to have shorter and shorter attention span. It's these things stuffing us all up. 3 seconds, like.
One thing I noticed too was
done.
So I was clicking on a lot of like fitness content. I've tried to get off social media altogether besides posting stuff. Just treat it like a business related kind of exercise. I was clicking on like fitness related stuff, and my whole news feed was just fitness, bodybuilding. And my missus got hold of my phone and she was like, I'm sick of this. Like, started clicking all the overnight wheat bix and food videos. And then, completely changed the whole news feed. Like, now I'm just getting all these like fondue, cakes, ice creams. It's amazing how, like, depending on what you click, it'll feed you more of what you already look at. And that's the other thing is, like, I think that because people being fed so much of what they already look at or what they already believe, they're very like closed off or open to other perspectives on the world and other people's viewpoints on certain topics or things. So how much do you think that is also going to be quite damaging for the next generations, I guess, coming through?
In regards to being targeted more and more?
Yeah, and with specific content and maybe specific influencers, for instance, like if they've got one perspective on, certain thing, like we see with fitness now, like the Trend Twins, for instance, and how popularized they are, but their perspectives on drug use or whatever it may be, and like
100%. I mean, if you typed in lawnmowers and you're being targeted with lawnmowers, I mean, I'm pretty sure society's going to be sweet with that. But the the issues come, in times of, say, an election. It was a big thing, for
Yeah,
instance, in America,
with
where
Trump.
yeah,
Yeah,
you can anyone can be persuaded.
yeah,
Anyone can be persuaded. If you rewind, I mean, you look at to Germany in the World War, you would have had young boys as sharp as
sure.
myself and yourself. And these guys got persuaded.
Mm.
There's been tests and there's been um, studies on all of this, but anyone can be persuaded to do anything, type thing. And social media, I mean, it can persuade millions and billions at a time to go one way. If they want to convince you, like this guy over there, he's unethical, he's selfish, he's this, he's that, he's a danger to society. They can do it. They can do it. So, and who is there any quality control of? There's no.
Yeah,
There's no. I mean, international law doesn't exist.
yeah.
Um,
They're talking about banning for certain age groups, aren't they? Like TikTok and
you
Instagram, and
can't. I
that's
mean,
hard to regulate.
what do they do in China? I mean, in China, certain platforms are banned. They've got timers on certain apps that you can't use it past certain times. I don't know too much about
Yeah,
those countries with bans on them, but I don't know if it'd be such a bad thing.
yeah.
I'm not saying I want Australia to go into a dictatorship, but it'd be interesting to look at, to kind
They'll
of
find a way. Kids will find a way. They'll find a way around it.
yeah. I mean, it's hard to go into a country like Australia and you give them Instagram and then to take away Instagram. But if they
Yeah.
never knew Instagram in the first place, then
Well,
you'd be
they'd have
sweet.
to use facial recognition or something, wouldn't they? Because the kids will set their age being, older or whatever when
Yeah,
they log in. So,
fair. Yeah,
so one of the things I think you're a bit of an enigma when it comes to social media because you see so many young people who get swept up, and I was using that like fitness niche as an idea. You see so many young teenage boys specifically. I guess we could talk about the growth of body dysmorphia in young males these days, but with you were so engulfed in the fitness space. Like I remember with your first sponsorship with BPM Labs and how you became like the face of their supplement.
what a throwback.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. So like you're quite an enigma because you see so many people get stuck in that fitness mindset. They become like a sellout, like they're pumping supplements, taking all these freebies from different companies. And it's not that fruitful. And I think one of the moments where I remember realizing how your brain was just wired differently in that sense was when you went to host the A&B Nationals competition, which I was competing at. But also, I think it was like a week or two after that, we went for a meal and you were at Costy's hustling, like talking to the business owner saying, this is how powerful social media is. This is how it can actually transform your business and generate more sales, more customers. And I could see you weren't just thinking, oh, look, like you were saying before, it was all about the girls. You weren't just thinking how my biceps look or how I look on social media. You were thinking about actually marketing yourself as your own business. And so what I want to talk to you about is how much do you, I guess, recognize like the formation of your character? How much of that do you put down to your parents, but also when do you remember consciously making that decision, right? Maybe I'm not the best person to take this to the next level in terms of being like a fitness content creator, but actually creating a brand where I can actually market other people's businesses and make money.
I think I've just always used intuition
Yeah.
with all my decision making. And intuition, it's like whatever I feel right with. And I don't always get it right.
Yeah.
But, I remember when I first came out of school, for example, I had a chip on my shoulder and then I realized, like, what do I do? Like, that confusing time.
But you always had
What do you
Lauriston
do?
House, right? Your mum's business there and you were working hard.
Yeah, I waited about 3 jobs. I would do a morning and a lunch and a night shift. I would work 7 days a week. But on the side, I had started 4 businesses, and I remember always having anxiety, and I still do. You got to, I feel, and each to their own, that I need to build something up, and I'm gonna have to support a family one day. And
Yeah.
this is the mindset from 18. So my mind is always going, okay, great. Look for windows of opportunity type thing. I mean, I got sponsored from BPM Labs as an athlete, then became their New South Wales rep.
Yeah.
And then, we used to compete in the A and B, and then, started hosting it. And in many times, my mind is always kind of looking for windows of opportunity. Sometimes I take on so much opportunity that basically I get pulled away from other great things and whatnot. I think the biggest thing is saying no. But definitely my mind is always ticking. So naturally, I think when your mind is always ticking and looking for opportunity, things somehow happen. I mean, you can go into a restaurant, you can go into a cafe, and if your mind's ticking, you'll naturally hear a table next to you talking about. They might be talking about online coaching, and you're an online coach, and it's that.
Yeah.
You turn and then you introduce yourself, and then you say, "Hey, I got thing," but I think I couldn't agree more. And then you create a conversation, and bang, and that kind of happens. That stuff happens
So often.
daily, 100% daily. And it's something I don't.
But that's what I mean. You're so like social media can close people so much off from their external environment around them, what's happening around them. You've never been like that. As much as you've been engulfed in social media, you've always been present with what's happening around you and opportunities and things. Like I remember being at expos and that kind of thing. You're always like looking at who you can converse with or start a conversation. So I think there's definitely you've been wired a little bit differently to most people who are, I imagine, in the social media space.
Well, I think we were talking about it. I think we were talking about it the other day briefly. We were talking about the whole pick your poison.
Yeah. This is something I've realized.
This is what it ties down to. I mean, and again, we were saying you've got an individual 5 p.m. clock off, weekends beautiful, life's beautiful. You go for a picnic with your partner and you sit and you have a cheese board and you thing, and then on Sunday you go for a nice walk and everything's relaxing and you see your family and your friends, and that's so beautiful. And those memories, hey, I dead set sometimes get FOMO myself, right? When you get individuals, they're just enjoying the present because we're all going to die one day, and those memories are so valuable, and that's a thing. Now you have that scenario. You got to know that when you're living so present and so beautifully, and you're there in the moment all the time, you miss a lot of business opportunity because you're not hustling type thing. And so that's pick your poison. You're gonna miss career goals, and on the other side, you can go an extreme. On the other side, you get an individual that is constantly looking for every window of opportunity, and they're building themselves up, and they build a personal wealth and thing, but then they're sacrificing time, precious time that you'll never get back with family and friends, which you may regret in life. Probably will regret in life. There'll become a time when personally, I'm like, oh, fuck, I just regret not doing that. It's pick your poison.
Yeah.
Right. Both sides are shit.
Yeah.
This life.
Which shit you want.
Which one? And now we want to talk about balance. So let's say we go in the middle over here.
Mate, don't talk to me about balance.
Let's talk about the middle, balance.
I got no idea about that.
And let's talk about maybe let's talk about a balance. The way I think of it is there's times where you go full hard ball and then you maybe take a week off and just enjoy it with your family. But if you want to go balance in life and always be in the middle, you're never going to be that champion, coming first like you did last week, holding that trophy high. You can't be in the middle. You have to go extreme. You want to be number one, you have to go extreme. Otherwise, it's not just going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a rude shock. So you got to go hard or go home if you want to be a business owner and actually survive. To survive in this day and age, you have to. Unless you're a freak that creates some app and then money rolls into your bank account for the rest of your life because you're a natural born genius. For the most part, that is not 99% of people.
Yeah.
But if you go in the middle, you can also kind of piss off friends and family that you're kind of there, but you're not there. It's either one or the other, but I don't know. I don't know the meaning of life.
It's hard.
Pick your poison.
But see, that's the thing though. Like, I was talking to Ryan Doris on the Strength Connect podcast. He's like the Natty Pro on Instagram. And he was saying, like, he comes from this big ass ghetto family and I was saying to him, like, they have massive meal like spreads, just like the Greeks do and Lebanese. And he was just saying, like, if others had what you have, they would fucking do it. They would have a marketing agency like this. They would have a podcast studio like this. They would have 2 branches like you do. If they had the hustle, the drive, the commitment, they would do it. But they don't. So when you talk to them and you say, Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Are you content? Maybe they'd say yes, because all they want is a family and a roof over their head. But is that because, they never really found what they wanted to do? Or like, I feel like for me, and this is very individual, so I imagine it'll probably upset a lot of
each to their own.
It'll upset, yeah.
Let it out.
It'll upset a lot of people, but I think that for me personally, I don't want to be that top person, because I know if I don't push myself to my absolute limits, try different things, see what works, what doesn't work. By the time I get to the point where I have kids, I've settled down, I'm getting older, I'll be bitter, No, I don't have that chance when I was young to actually try and make something of myself.
I think what's important for a young person too is that they actually get a taste of blood. And when I say that, it's like, I remember, for myself, I think I was 18, and I went to Greece, for the first time kind of by myself. And I remember feeling really, really free. And there was one time, it was this epiphany I had. There was a sunset. I had a little place. I jumped on my quad bike and I was just driving down this hill, and there was this big sunset. And I could still picture it like that today. And I looked around, and it was like ecstasy. I'm looking and I'm going, wow, life can be this good, like every single day. Like life, like why is it that, like, what, you're supposed to work all year and like only get like a week of this and like that's it? Yeah. Like, why can't life be like this all the time?
All the time, yeah.
And I was 18, and I remember thinking that to myself. I'm like, it gave me, it was like a taste of blood, and it gave me a lot of fire in my belly to say, you know what, life can be this good. But here's the thing, right? Let's say, a lot of people don't get that taste of blood. So let's say you lived perhaps in the middle of Australia and you were never able to basically, I don't know, get that taste of blood where you saw you traveled and you were free and you had a little bit of money in your pocket, so you could just be free, and you experienced something, and you went, wow, what have I got to do? What have I got to do to have an extraordinary life?
Yeah.
When I say extraordinary life, what I've got to do, extraordinary life, have your family, you go traveling with them, you give them the best life, you build your kids' character, you get to move freely. Like, what have I got to do? And I actually, from 18, my plan was when I get to 30 years old, I set myself up. Whatever that means. But that has been my mission. I can't think 40, I can't think 50, I can't think 60. My brain can't comprehend that.
What does success look like to you? If you had to put it on a canvas, what does that look like? What does success look like?
Well, it was interesting because I think the definition of success, I think as time goes by, and personally, the more of experience that changes. If you ask me what the success
It's
looked like at
dynamic.
20,
It's dynamic in my opinion.
yeah. I mean, it would have been very different to when I was 25, and now I'm 29 years old.
Yeah.
It's different again. See, when I was 18, I'm like, I need a property portfolio. I need this. I need that. I come to 29 years old, and I can't bring myself to buy a property
Yeah.
because my intuition says doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
My intuition says if I open up this new business branch, I can make 10 times more. That's just what my intuition says. Even though, you know, I may have my mentors and my family and the people that I look up to, you know, you'll never lose in property.
Yeah.
But
That's
again,
what my family did though.
Intuition.
Everyone has that.
Well, it's whatever makes sense. I mean, to be honest, you could buy land and it could be 100-fold, and you could do this and you could do that, and I just can't bring myself when it comes to the property game to wait 30 years. In 30 years, I'm an old fart.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out there and virtually, I want revenue streams. I want to take care of people. I want to build a great portfolio. I want to go over and beyond. I'm happy just to live in the hope and create something really, really great, create a really great machine, and know that when I do want to capitalize, I can. But in the meantime, I feel like if you can just take care of people, the money will come later on, and it'll come later on. And just having that, just take care of people, it'll all work out. That's still the philosophy.
You said you had a chip on your shoulder in
Yes.
those early days.
Yes.
Now, for me, when you're talking about family, saying, you know, just play it safe, buy a property. I've had that. You bought a property now. Don't start your PhD because you got to service your loan. Don't do a bodybuilding prep now. My partner said, don't do a bodybuilding prep now because you've got too much on your plate. You can't do a bodybuilding comp unless you can't be a good bodybuilder unless you take steroids. Yada, yada, yada. You hear all of that. How much of what you've been able to achieve now with White Key Marketing is in the essence of early RE, chip on the shoulder, versus seeking fulfillment, happiness, building that life that looks like success to you?
No, 100%. I mean, once again, early days I think as a young man, you're always very confused. Like you just don't know where the hell you fit type thing. And I do remember I tried four different businesses. What really basically unlocked a heap of fire within me was there was a lot of fear when I first competed. And that was a big turning point. I was about 20 years old. Could be going off topic, but in a nutshell, I was about 20 years old, and I had a lot of fire in my belly because I'm like, you know what? I pretty much failed in school.
That was your taste of blood.
I failed in school. I basically flicked the whole university thing because it just my intuition.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense, and I went to uni for one day, and I'm like, it's not making sense. Like in my brain, I know my mum and dad they've got the success and they've done it, and now I look real arrogant because I'm 20 years old. I got nothing going for me, and it comes across very arrogant. But I think you've just got to again go with your intuition type thing. But I remember I had so much fire in my belly. I didn't know where to release all that fire because I wanted to make something of myself, but I didn't know what that looked like. I tried 1 business, 2 business, 3 business, 4 business, and I remember it was Bart. I was at Fitness First, and this guy, I think it was about 2 days out from. I didn't know him. It was just the scariest, most serious giant of a human being training.
Is this Bart?
This is Bart. This is Bart.
Hey, look at the noise he makes when he's pressing. Oh,
yeah. No. He was by himself, and his pupils were like that, and he was freaking angry.
Korean monster.
Yeah. He's a shout out to Bartas because Barker. Look him up. So anyway, he was scary, but like myself being that individual starting businesses, and you know, like I'm always looking for the window. I don't know why. I walked up to him. I go, like, I didn't want to say gain anything, all right, but I went, like it almost came. I'm like, he's probably gonna think I'm gay, but I'm like, whatever. I walked straight up to him. He had his earphones in. I'm like, excuse me, I have never seen another individual with a physique like you have in this gym. I've been training for 4 years. Never seen it. And he looked at me and he gave me this nod. He goes, no, I'm not good. I'm not good. And he was training for a natural. He was 2 days out. The body dysmorphia was there. He was amazing. Right? Anyway, I remember I was just getting ready to leave. I was in the change rooms. He looked at me. He goes, hey, you're all right too. I'm like, yeah. He's like, there's a guy that I actually took to a national competition, and I'm looking at you, and I'm like, I reckon you could do it too. And I'm like, man, I can't take off my shirt in public. Like, that's not what I like. It's not me. I can't get on undies in the bodybuilding stage. Like, it's not me. I said, plus I'm going to Greece next week, right? So like at the end of the day, I don't know. Maybe I hit you up when I get back. So he flicked me his number, and I'm there in Greece, and I'm training every day. I'm in the sun, and I'm looking, and I'm looking at his stuff, and I'm looking at this other guy he trained in, and he was there. He was like the man up on stage and thing. And I can't get my undies and do that. I can't. It's just beyond. There's there's no way. Like, that's not Ari. Like, you don't do that. I'm kind of a bit flabby. It's just like these guys are like actual born athletes.
You think they're like superheroes, right? We were talking about this in the car.
Yeah, you look at it like beyond, like they're levitating. And I remember I was in
That's what
Greece.
I saw when I looked at your cover photo.
Yeah.
You're like some deity that transcends the earth. You know?
Well, I remember I was in Greece and I was training and I was drinking lots of water and I saw my body kind of thing in it. And I'm looking at him going, I remember messaging him. I'm like, man, I think let's hook up like, I'm not saying yes, but let's just have a session. I remember to Auburn, Fitness First. Remember, I had never literally been to Auburn in my life, right? Because Bart goes, come down to Auburn. There was a security guards at the front of the gym back then. There was bullet shots through the Fitness First things. It was. I looked around. No, this was Fitness First back then. I looked around. I go, but where are we? He's like, don't worry, man, you're with me. And I'm like, what is this? Like, seriously, like, what are those holes? Like, why are there two big security guards at the front of a gym?
Yeah. And
it was Fitness First. We train this, that, and he's like, all right, man, like, we got this. Like, we got this. We're 12 weeks out. Okay. All right, fuck it, let's do it. And I had a lot of fire in my belly again because I'm like, maybe this is where I'm going to prove myself. Like, maybe this is it. Like, I've never won in life. Like, I was competitive in my soccer, but I wasn't number one. And I was competitive. I used to play competitive chess, right? But I wasn't number one, and I wanted to be number one. Yeah. I wanted to be number one. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I put so much effort into things, I just can't win. Like, what the hell? And I'm competitive. If I play anything, if I play a board game, a thing, I want to win. And I never cracked it.
Yeah.
Never cracked it. So I was confused. I'm like, all right, I'm probably going to get my ass whooped, but let's put it everything, like your life depends on it. I remember just like, your life depends on it. Like, let's go. Like, let's do it. Like, maybe this is where I'm going to prove myself. Yeah. Like, to myself and the people around me. Like, I just felt like, man, I failed this, this and that and that. I feel like a drop kick. Deep down, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Deep down, I had this alter ego on the outside, but deep down, I'm like, this is it. So I remember just putting in my all. He said, do this. I would do that to the T, to the gram. Every single little thing, not one drop. When I was training, it was the hardest time of my life in regards to just having no energy and you're just dreaming about food and you feel faint. And you can't think straight, and you're trying to push through, and you're jittering, and your joints are cramping up, and it's not like when it comes to bodybuilding, it's not like, let's say you sit there and you fall and you break your leg, you can't do nothing, right? Or let's say, I don't know, like a woman's pregnant and she's popping a baby, right? she has to endure. Like, there's no way she can hit an off button. You know what I mean? You can't just sit off, like, make me feel better.
She can take an epidural or something. Like,
oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not on to comment about having a baby. It's probably the wrong analogy. But when you're bodybuilding, like, you feel like shit. Like, like, if you just have that muffin, right? You'd be sweet.
Mate, it gets harder the more preps you do, honestly. Like, the one I had this year, I was fucking in the feels. Like, my legs were cramping like crazy. I was a lot more lightheaded, leaner than before. Like, urinating so much. It's a fucking battle. But what I was saying to Bart the other day was it's different to other sports. If you're a tennis professional, you're a soccer professional, rugby league athlete, kayaking, whatever it is, swimming, the race starts and it finishes. There's a finite start and end. The buzzer goes at the start and the end. Bodybuilding, you never switch off. You're in your head 24/7 making decisions about your macronutrients, what you're doing with your carbs in your peak week, what time you're going to train, how many sets, how much volume you're doing, the intensity. It's next level in terms of the discipline and resilience required. And one of those things we said was, if you're going to do, if you're not into bodybuilding, you got other things you're pursuing in life. Even if you just do one prep in your whole life, it'll set you up, like in terms of your values, your resilience, discipline, like your mental fortitude for the rest of your life going forward. How much has that bodybuilding actually impacted your success now with White Key marketing?
Well, the big turning point was, I remember the first competition I ever did, I came third and I was shitty.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I just put everything on the line. I got fired from my job. It's just like everything. It's just tough. And I remember coming around for another season. I was so pissed that the season after, I'm like, I'm going to do whatever. Like if I came third, I can go through. Up doing Central Coast again, the New South Wales, the national titles, went to the Philippines. And I remember, like, in my head at that time, I told myself that when I was lethargic and couldn't think straight and just, you're doing 2 to 3 training sessions per day and, you're fully natural too. So, like, I don't know how performance enhancing supplements, I mean, they can get you awake and they can get you pumped up and they can get you this, but get you that. When you're natty, like, it's I don't know the difference. I haven't been on all the performance enhancing, but I could imagine it's a very different experience going for if you're natty to being on substance. But I remember I was thinking to myself, like, I'm like, I'll die for this.
Yeah.
Like, I got to do. I will, whatever it takes. I will die. I will die for this. Like, in my head, like, that's like I'm and feeling that and feeling the lows of, like, you're a failure this year, that if you can't come with it, it was just obsession. Every day everything was to the minute.
You remember your meal plan?
Yes,
to a T, off by heart.
Yeah,
every day.
It's crazy. I mean, and I remember when I ended up winning for the pro card
in Manila.
I remember thinking, like, that was the first time in my life I couldn't breathe. I remember when they called my name.
Someone called you a pro. You're a professional.
Well, when they called my name, and that was like the heights of that. I thought, if I get this, then I'll be the happiest man alive, and I'll be content. I'll be good. It didn't happen like that, because then you want the next thing. But just the happiness that when you put so much hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, and you push through so much adversity to the point where you are literally just going freaking all in, like your whole life, like all relationships you fucked up, or your work, your this, your that, you've just gone all in, and then you come out with the win. I remember thinking to myself, if I can do this, then all right, this whole uni thing, I can get through that. I can do that. If I want to start I can start a business. I can start this. And it was self-belief. When you put in the work and you come out with the win, that taste of blood there, that self-belief that if I put in work, I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
Like if I want to start, I don't know, if I wanted to be a professional tennis player, like if I put that same military mindset, playing every single day and X, Y, and Z, and you put it all in, just if I can just replicate what I did in the bodybuilding world, like, because I wasn't a bodybuilder, but if you go all in, right, you do it. And that was the mentality, and that was like, with White Key, I'm like, I failed 4 businesses. They weren't failures.
Tell us about those businesses. I want to hear more about, because people they always see the success, right? They see me on stage holding the men's physique overall trophy at nationals, and people go, "Fuck, you know, you're lucky. You got good genetics.
Good genetics.
You
Yeah.
got good genetics. You know, you're lucky. You don't have to." You know, I work.
Let's look at the 2017
I'm
photos
a
again.
lawyer. I work 12-hour days
Yeah.
till I get home at 10 o'clock, whatever. No, I go train. I do fasted cardio at 3:30 a.m. every fucking morning. You know,
3:30. Yeah.
3:30 till 4:30. Then go home, have meal number one, and that's the start, right? And then you got your weight training.
What time do
session.
you sleep, man?
I get 6 hours. I'm like
Okay.
Arnold, you know. So
That's mad. About 3:30 wake up, pitch black, and
Yeah.
what are you doing? What's fasted cardio?
it's kind of the mentality. You know Jay Cutler? Do you
Yeah.
know Jay Cutler?
Yeah.
I was talking to Bart about this the other day, quad stomp. I can't remember what year it was, like 07 or something. I probably got that wrong. Someone will call me out in the comments. But there was one year where he was basically like just trying to cycle the other competitors out. He would be doing his cardio at, say, like 2 a.m. in the morning while they're all sleeping. And that was like a head fuck for the other competitors. But for me, there's like this thing. It's like no one's up now.
Yeah, that's mad.
I know there's people up at 4. I know there's people up at 5, but I don't hear anyone say 3:30. It's just a bit of a thing, right?
No,
It's like I'm the first one in the gym, last one to leave kind of thing
Yeah.
in the evening. And that, I think people, it was like what I was saying about Ryan Doris. People, if they could do what you could do, or they had that resilience or discipline, they would, if they had that, they would fucking do it, right? They would,
100%.
but they don't have that in them, and there's
No,
a lot
they
of
do. Everyone's got it. Everyone's got it. I believe everyone has that. And you need that. You need that taste of blood. I know individuals that, you know, they struggled. They were getting bullied. They were, you know, in an obese state, down in the dumps, nothing. And you see them, they get a spark. They go, you know what? Fuck this. And I've seen them, you know, drop all the weight, get that champion mindset, and just go, just fuck everybody over. I mean, you look at there's stories left, right, and center. Like, you get boxers do it all the time. How about George Kambosos? You know, he would have been in the dumps. You know, just a little chubby kid getting kicked around at school, and then you just get people that just go, you know what, fuck this. Like that's all. Like, fuck it. I was no more. Like, I'm not being treated like a piece of shit anymore.
Yeah, well,
right?
I actually had that moment at this prep, right? My dad, I was telling you, has FTD dementia. My sister, her ADHD, like cousins and things around us, like, you know, losing their shit. And I just locked in. You know, I need to drill myself for 30, 40 weeks, like lock into study, work, training, and just drill myself and create something like I haven't done before. And it's less about the physical, it's more about the mentality, right? It's the censoring your focus. And I find it like your whole world just comes with you, right? Yes, you might not have the mental energy late in the day, but you learn to, like, just like you periodize your training, you learn to periodize your day around that fatigue, or understanding, you know, that you're going to be more fatigued or tired in the evening. So, you know, in this hour, I need to be productive with my work. I need to get this done. So there's less room for carry on bullshit. You know, you really got to block out time in your day, really focus what's important to you. And it makes you clear out the shit. And sometimes there's just a funny way of the universe filtering out the crap that you don't need in your life.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, positivity is contagious. I mean, you wake up in the morning at that right time, and then you make your bed, and then you have that shower, you have that shave, you're sharp, and then you go in, and then that leads to the next, and then you have a real good gym session because you made sure you went to sleep nice and early before that day. But before that, you make sure you had a good meal and you get that right, and then one thing leads to the next, and then you just become this animal. Like winning is my thing. Like, I make all the right decisions. Positivity is contagious, but also negativity is contagious.
Yes, yeah.
Like, I'll be out at a bar, and you know, it happens all the time. You know, in a social setting, just one drink, Like, what is wrong with you? Just one drink. You're obsessed. One drink. It's not one drink. I know. Even if I have that sip, it's just like, well, that's just 1% backwards, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now the next decision, right? Oh, am I going to do that 20 minutes worth of abs next? After an hour session, am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? That slowly grinds you down. It's that negativity is contagious, and you can spiral. You know how it is. Like, you've been in post preps where it's just out of control. It's like, those planes that you just can't get out of it. You're just gonna crash. It's positivity and negativity. It's a snowball. It's just, you can't just sit in the middle where everything's great, and you just got to, you're either in the trenches or you are, I don't know, you just live in comfort.
I think I had to get out prep pretty quickly this time, just because there was so many tasks I had to do. I haven't really had a chance to be like, have that come down. It's kind of been like, I've been so busy. It's good to have carbs so I can work longer hours, kind of thing. But yeah, I think that's, that really is a good summary of, for the listeners, they're probably thinking, how has this got anything to do with marketing? But if you know the real Ari George, you'll understand the early days and where all of this come from. And the fitness industry probably has the biggest stake when it comes to social media. Would you agree? Like,
big
food,
time.
but fitness is probably occupies the most.
People would do anything to look good. They'll pay anything to. It's one of those things where, let's say you're marketing. Look at the beauty world. People will pay anything.
And there's no money in the Olympia. There's no money in competing at these natural comps. Like, I won, what was it? Like a couple $300-400 worth, like a stack of donuts.
That was your 10.
Like a huge trophy. And, you come back, you win your pro card. You won your pro card.
You think you're gonna go celebrity mode, eh?
If you're in it for the accolades and the trophies and that, you're in it for the wrong reason. I love the fact that, yes, I took the top spot, and that was my discipline, my resilience, my work ethic that enabled me to achieve that.
Yeah.
But what's more exciting is year to year, the progressions, doing some photo shoots, seeing like all the details coming out in your back from all the hard work, and you're like building this physique, right? So it's a long-term game. You need to be patient, consistent, and that teaches you a lot of values, which I've been able to like carry throughout my life. So that's that. And a lot of the fitness side of things has been where you sort of started to hone your craft with marketing, learning to talk to the camera, learning to be on stage and talk to a room of people, because you already had that confidence from being able to walk out on stage half naked and present your physique to a whole room of people. You're probably in the top 1%, because if you went out there on the street and we interviewed, on the weekend, 100, 200 people walking down Parramatta Road, what percentage of those people do you think would say, I'm more than happy to get in some undies or swimwear and get up on stage and pose in a room of 400 people?
No, it's daunting for anyone.
It's scary.
It is 100%. It's you're vulnerable, and that was the biggest thing. I mean, I remember Bart telling me, he's like, Ari, you realize, like, you can't be no bitch. Like, when you go up there, there's no Photoshop.
Yeah,
you're standing there
there's no
with 20 others, right? And like, if you're jiggly, right, around the midsection, you know how stupid you're gonna look. you know how dumb you are gonna look. You're gonna have everybody else, right, and you're gonna have people, your friends and the rest of it. They're gonna come out to see you, and you are gonna look inferior. And I'm like, you know what? Tell me more. Tell me more. I mean, I remember one thing I told Bart, and the first prep I did, we were about 3 weeks out, and he's like, Ari, I'm proud of you. And you're looking real good, and this is going to be great. And I remember when he gave me that compliment, I actually remember dropping that ball that little bit in regards to my training and etc. And then when I came around to my next prep, I remember pulling him aside. I said, Bart, you got to understand what makes me tick. Tell me I'm not good enough. Tell me I'm going to look inferior up there. Tell me all that. Do not tell me, right? So I'll be like 3 weeks out from the Philippines, 2 weeks out for the Philippines, and he was pumping me, and in my head I'm like, it's real, like I'm like, is he just saying that because I told him that, or like, am I actually going to be a fool? Like, am I actually going to like embarrass myself type thing? You're embarrassing, and I'd go, and I just, I think there's different things that make different people tick out there in regards to you get some athletes and you hear them in their own what makes them tick, and it could just be about being number one and being outstanding and just being the best version of yourself. And you get other individuals that they got to kind of reminisce when they felt vulnerable one time. They got to relive that in their brain, and they got to say, okay, let's go. We're 30 seconds on to this next set. Let's fuck it up. And I think that's what, you got to dig deep, and you've got to kind of figure out what is it that going to get the most fire out of. I'm sure you can relate.
Yeah.
Because it's hard.
Yeah. I prepped myself this year. So I did all my diet, all my training, and like I fucking drilled myself like hard. But the one thing that I feel like next time I prep, I'm going to get a coach. But the only reason that I'm going to that I want a coach is because when you're at the comps, right, and you've got a category, so say you're doing men's physique and classic physique, and there's like a window of time between you're weighing up how much water do I need to drink, how much salt do I need, how much carbs do I need without spilling, and you often don't have a mirror, right? You got to go to the bathroom to have a look at how you're looking, and
the mind games.
Yes, but also just conscious, like how much, if I drink too much water, have an extra rice cake with honey, I kind of spill a little bit, need a little bit of sodium. Having someone there with you, like I think that's what I really enjoyed with having a coach, right? Is the fact they're there with you, just stop. We just have one rice cake, 5 grams of honey, start pumping up, just a sip of water. That's it.
Yeah. Man.
Let's go. As opposed to being like, am I full enough? Bit of sodium, bit of water, So I think next time, which this prep particular has really ignited the fire for me. To keep going with it, I honestly, it's just reaffirmed for me. Like, 'cause after the COVID period, I ran a marathon when all the gyms were closed. I got into running, and like there was this euphoria, like running for 4 hours and being able to cross the line and say, I kept going that whole time. I ran a marathon at 110 kilos or whatever. But that shit's not for me. I'm not built for marathon running and that kind of thing. I fucking love bodybuilding. And it's all that. It's just the consistent efforts, the eating, the training, the sleeping, the relentless daily pursuit towards the goal. So I guess moving away from bodybuilding, because the listeners probably heard enough of that. Apologies if you're not into your fitness as much as
I reckon they would have clicked back by now. I reckon they would have tapped out.
If you're still listening though, we'll get into the market.
I reckon whoever's listening right now, I bet you lift.
Whoever's listening now are probably the loyal Normless fans, but this is the reason why I wanted to get you on the podcast, because you, as I said, in order to, people see the flashy videos on the White Key Marketing in 4K, you out pouring champagne in the CBD and all the flashy lights, and you failed 4 businesses before that, and no one sees the shit you have to go through. Like, no one sees the shit I went through to get to where I am, right? No one sees the dark days when you're sitting on your bed, contemplating whether to fold or keep going down that path or take another path. What are people going to think, You're approaching 30, you don't have a family, you don't have kids, like, talk to us about those initial failures and how they kind of projected you into White Key Marketing, and how did you still have the resolve to keep going?
Well, I think I wouldn't call those first business. I mean, I think I've said it before, failures.
Not
But at the end of the
failures,
day,
learning lessons.
you learn. And I think
Yeah.
there was actually two businesses within that. They actually I cashed out really well,
Yeah.
and that was really good. But again, with my intuition, I've always wanted to kind of build a great brand and basically long term. And a big thing is, I remember you want to have uncapped earnings, so the sky's the limit. So
Yeah.
you've always got hope that you can have a business that maybe does $1 million a year, or $10 million a year, or
Yeah.
$100 million a year. My brain, that's where my brain is.
Yeah.
To say, well, like, why can't White Key be a $100 billion company? And you still get individuals that will say, delusional. But I can assure you, they said delusional 8 years ago when it was just me, working 7 days a week, running around 10, 20 accounts, going from thing to thing, thinking the kid he's a wheeler dealer. He did business
No, you
number
never
one,
take
number two, number
advice.
three, number four, and now
Never.
he's on business number 5. He
Yeah.
thinks he's doing marketing, and that's what it is. I think it's just about backing yourself and just go with your intuition. Just back yourself.
And you don't listen to people who haven't got to where you want to be or where you are,
Well,
like,
it's the difficult thing. I wouldn't say. I mean, there's so many decisions that I personally make. Daily, weekly, and every week. There's decisions you got to make it when you move at velocity. And the way I've always done things is, I've got a number of mentors. I'll ask one, what are your thoughts on this? Then I'll ask another one. Then I might ask my mum. And then I might ask one more person. So I like to hear everybody's opinions. And it doesn't really matter if they're successful, if they're not successful. One person I like to talk about with Bart, I'll ask him something, like, even if marketing's on his foot, like, what would you do in this position? Employee spoke to me like the way they just spoke. What would you do? Like, I'd look at it like this, and I'd take it from this angle. Then you get the next bit. So I like to understand and basically ask other individuals that come from more experience from me, or come to different part, and then I'll kind of do whatever my intuition whatever makes sense. And I say that all the time. Like, I'll be in some team meeting, or someone wants some kind of step up into another position. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Does that make sense? Like, I'll always say, does that make sense? It's whatever makes sense. You might, see an opportunity somewhere, and, you will ask your mum, and you ask two other individuals, then just do whatever makes sense for you, because what worked for them might not necessarily work for you. I mean, times have changed. Things are moving so fast. I think no one's worked anything out.
Yeah.
No one, no one's the expert.
And if
right?
if they are, they've tapped out, stopped trying to learn, and
just ask people,
grow.
and just do what intuition.
So again, so you said you cashed out on a couple of those businesses, but what I really wanted to kind of delve into was like those initial failures. No, not failures, but learning lessons. Was there like provide some insight in those early days? Like, did you always know you were going to get here? Like, did you have that, like, doesn't matter what I have to go through, I'm going to build this into something special?
Yeah.
Or was there ever a time when you were like, fuck, what else is out there? What's plan B?
I will never. Well, I think I'm not calling myself a true entrepreneur. I'm not calling myself no business expert, etc. But you see a real entrepreneur, they can lose everything, and then they'll make it all back again.
Yeah.
And I look at myself in the same way. Like, you could live in the fear, like, what
It's
if
like Alex Hormozy.
someone like falls over, then like goes to sue you for $10 million and the rest of it. Like, confidently look at any situation and go, I'll work it out. Like, I think what happens in business, and it not to go back to bodybuilding, but in the bodybuilding world, I mean, let's say you do a 12-week prep, you go hard for 12 weeks. Like when you actually accelerate, like you're in last gear, right? Accelerate 12 weeks every single day. The business world is, and I thought, you know what, if I can do that, if I can come first there, I can take on anyone. Like I'll go into an industry and I will accelerate. And I'll be successful, because if I could just use if I can, and I'd still do this to this day, if I can use that same mental resilience, like I walk in a competition and go, right, if I give it my all, I'll always figure it out, type thing. But I've just lost my train of thought. What was I saying? What was the?
So yeah, you don't. You cross that bridge when you get there. You just learn on the go. Like you're still learning every day about business processes and things.
No, 100%. I think when I
you fall forward.
That's it. You always figure it out. You always figure it out. And I think sorry, back on to what I was saying before. In the business world, you can't just work hard for 12 weeks or 3 months or 6 months or 1 year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. You got to go hard. It's relentless. You have to go hard every single day and not drop the ball. Not for just, I see some individuals, they look at maybe social media, go, this is easy. I can start posting myself, and they can post themselves, and they can write the caption, and they can get the contract photographer and go bang, bang, and it can look good. Yes. And they'll do that. They'll get their inner network. They'll get client number 1, client number 2, maybe even client number 3. But at the end of the day, people come and go, and you always got to be going full board to look for new business. And then you got to keep your current guys happy. And then you've got to make sure your sales and marketing is down pat. You've got to make sure your operations down pat, and your finances down pat. And then you get the trick of people that rip you off. And then, what's really important is you stay grounded too. So once, let's say you are really good, like don't go out and just buy, some flashy car. Don't go out and do that. No. Put it back in. Put it back in. Don't go out and go on some sick holiday. Don't go out and feel like you're the man or whatever it may be. You got to put that money back in and do it again and again and again and again if you want to be competitive. And it is 7 days a week, because at the end of the day, it's so competitive out there that if you're not going full ball, you're just gonna go under. It's so like you can go under real easy. Like you can, when you've got expenses and you've got, people that can just drop off at any time, and you've got people that you can go under. You gotta stay sharp. Yeah. It's a long game. It's not, you gotta go many years before you properly, get that full stability.
So talk to us about when you started White Key, and in the early days, was it primarily social media marketing? And how have you evolved now into being like a very complex, well-oiled business that kind of takes hold of a brand and is able to tell their story through website, SEO, social media marketing? Talk us through, I guess, that transformation process and where you're at now.
Well, I guess everything starts somewhere, and that was myself. 8 years ago, I actually had my next door neighbor literally knocked on my door, and he goes, "Oh, Ari, you do social media? Do it for my cafe?" And I looked him straight in the eye. I go, "Yeah, I do." I didn't do social media. What I did, I would post fitness photos, and I'll get a couple thousand likes.
And the parents go and tell your parents probably told them one day when they were raking the leaves.
They could have been there.
Look at my son.
Yeah, and he got thousands. He's got he's got followers and the rest of the thing. So he goes, "You do social media, like you understand how to market my business." And I looked at him. I said, he goes, "How much?" I said, $200 a week. I don't know where I came that number from, but my brain is always about opportunity. You see an opportunity, look at it. Does it make sense? Go. So it's $200 a week, and I'll take care. I'll grab your Instagram and I'll sort you out. Right? I'll get you out there. What happened after that is I would go to his place every single day, speak to customers, photo all the specials, photo all the new things, and I was just going there daily. He's looking at me like, "You pay this guy $200 a week. This guy's
Yeah.
relentless. Like he's here, and people are talking about it. And people are saying, "Oh, I saw you knew this and knew that. I see it open at nights now." And because I was just pushing it so hard and just going all out, I just started getting recommended to his friends,
Yeah.
and I would go all out for them, and then get recommended to their friends, and to this day, I look to instill that exact same DNA into all of our 30 plus team members, our full timers, and you know today it's Monday. We have our team meeting. We've got everyone there, and I look at everyone. I said, "Hey, we've got some boat parties coming up. Hey, don't get cocky. Stay grounded. The second we think we're too good, watch us fall. Just the second, watch us fall." And that's really important. That you stay on top of the ground. Don't after your prep just go. You know what? I'll take a month off.
Yeah.
I'll take a month off. Because that month turns into 2 months, and that 2 months turns into 3 months, and that we talk about positivity is contagious, that negativity is contagious too. So, that was the early days. It was just social media. I was just charging $200 a week. You did the math. I got to 10 clients. That's $2,000 a week. I felt like the man. I'm like $2,000 a week. That's like
$100K per year.
That's like 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
You think of back then $52,000. That was the yearly salary. 8 years ago, times have changed. This inflation's insane. Anyway, so I was there, and I'm like, okay. I ended up getting to 20 clients by myself, and I was just running around like a madman. I was like, through the night, through the day, 7 days a week, and I'm going, holy crap! Like,
need to employ someone.
Yeah. And even like the thought of employing someone for like $50,000 a year, like just, I don't know, like the first time you do things, you're like, whoa, like this is intense. This is so like, oh my God, my life's on the line. My life's on the line. I got someone and I said, listen, you're going to take one account, two account. Now you run 8 accounts, and I'm going to go catch some more dragons. Like you just run some accounts, and I'll go get some more. Right. And then I figured that out.
Yeah.
Right. I'll get the next person, and we load up. Next person, I got an office out in Helston Park, a little box, about 7 of us. And go out the next person, still that run around from job to job.
Yeah.
We'd shoot for our clients every second week, and I'd be there. I'd hang out with the client, build the relationship, talk to the customers, get it out there, and we'll make a noise.
Yeah.
We'll make a noise, and then we basically got another office, and then we went to 15 people very quick, and then it got a point that I said, you know what? Everyone's asking for websites. So how about I get an industry leader? How about we get a gun website person? Bring a website person in. So we started doing some websites. We got the social media. Then I said, everyone's asking for logos and stuff. All right, we've got a bit of capital. Let's get the logo. Let's get the branding person. Let's get an absolute gun. So while myself, I'm not the expert in SEO and Google Ads and all that kind of jazz, and you couldn't ask me to take a photo. You can't ask me to work a Photoshop. I won't do that, right? But what I virtually do now is look for really, really great talent with that DNA.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but in an interview, I ask people, I'm like, how do you feel about working overtime? And I'll just look at them. When they get weird about it, like I'm not there. I don't expect anyone to work after night, but you want people with that beast mentality. You got that. You got an army of troops. You can move at velocity. I was telling people in the team meeting today. I said, listen, it's all good and well. Like, do you guys like nice stuff? Do we want to pop a bigger facility? Let's work with some more high profile people. Let's rub shoulders with freaking multimillionaires and people with great stories, and let's be at the forefront, and let's get more specialists in, and let's learn off those specialists, and let's be industry leaders in what we do. And you like that stuff? All right, that we go over and beyond here. There's plenty of places where you can go to a place, you get your thing, and then you can
your salary packet.
Yeah, and you could do that, and you'll be
there. Away.
Oh yeah, you'll just cruise.
Yeah,
that's fine. You can go there. That's cool. But here we go over and beyond. Right? Here we go over and beyond. That's just what we do. And the more individuals I'm getting on with that mentality, that they're like, you know what? I actually want to basically like be on a really great journey. I'm just bringing them close. Like even if they're juniors, I know that they will watch a gazillion YouTube videos. They will learn. They'll go over and beyond, and they'll end up burying the experienced person that six bats and goes, "No, I've got 20 years of experience."
Yeah.
You know, you get someone that's just got whoever's got heart wins. That's what I've found.
How difficult has it been, like in terms of recruitment? I guess in the current context with inflation, the price of housing at the moment, rental properties, people bargaining with you, asking you for more money. How do you get them to, I guess, prove their value in those early stages? And do you ever get concerned about people, you know, like the turnover, people looking for other opportunities and roles, and you know, being short on one of your key specialists in a certain area, and how that might impact the daily running of the business?
Yeah, well, I guess we've learnt the hard way, and we're still learning. And when I say it's not it's we.
Yeah.
Got a handful of really really great key team members that I couldn't have built White Key to where it is without them. They've got that grind, that loyalty. They're smarter than me. They're more technical than me. They're you know, I owe you know, this growth to these key individuals, type thing. But you got to have framework.
Yeah.
You got to have framework, and you got to basically say, okay, so you got to have things in place where, you know, if they hit a certain number, they get more money. So the more they bring in, the more they earn.
Okay.
And it's that mentality. It's like, that's what we're trying to have for every single team member is uncapped earnings. All right. So if you bring this in, then we might as well give you a percentage of it. Right. So we increase our rates that little bit, and then you're able to basically pay people more, and they can have that uncapped earnings if they like. If they don't want, that's absolutely fine too. But that basically, you know, making sure those targets are fair, and it's a two-way street. And you know, it's hard, to be honest, for an individual to be on a salary and just come, and like the harder they work, like they don't get anything extra.
Yeah.
So
having those incentives,
it takes time to put that framework into place. It's not easy. I mean, it's very challenging. But I mean, in regards to challenges of inflation and the rest of it, I mean, you go over and beyond for your clients. You take care of them. You build a great brand. It's very very hard for businesses out there to compete with us. We've gotten to a place where we've got all these specialists under the one roof with this amazing portfolio, with, you know, these great facilities when they come in, with these great team members. They're all superstars all over the park. And, you know, it was harder in the early days, you know, someone walks in and they're like,
what do you do?
Yeah, they're like, all right, mate. Like the thing is, like when you're starting out, you think everyone supports you, but everyone just stomps on you.
So you get runs on the board.
Yeah, but when you get runs on the board, like I needed the support back then.
Yeah.
Right? When I was getting stomped on, when people will blatantly rip me off. They'll say, "Oh, good, I'll pay you next week, pay you next week," and then they literally just don't answer your phone calls, and they don't do that anymore. Because it's like, oh, now, you know, this is just White Key marketing. Right? You don't do that. You don't go to Coles and you can't go to the counter. It says $60. You go, hey, I'll give you 50. You know what I mean? They go, what the fuck? Right? Like, you never do that. But if you go to Paddington Markets,
you can do that.
You walk on the side and they go, it's going to be $20. You go, give you 15. I said, okay, I take it. And that's what I tell individuals. Is it's all about trust. When, even if you're not a reputable company, if you can present like you are reputable and you're trustworthy, and when people look you up, they go, wow, look at these guys, right? And when you show them their pricing, you show set pricing, things like no lock in contracts, and you're straight. Here's our price list. Here's this. Here's that. We got you covered. We'll give you an amazing service. And this is what it is. And yeah. and you do that, I mean, people won't bargain. But if you come in and you go the other way and you don't really have your pricing down pat and
Yeah.
your deliverables and the rest of it, and people can smell it,
Yeah.
like he's giving me a custom price, don't worry, I'll get him.
Yeah.
I'll look for the loophole. So yeah, when you're starting out, those early days, people look for loopholes. They'll exploit you. They'll stomp on you. They will just get the most out of you, and they'll spit you out. You will get certain individuals that they'll go, you know what? I like this kid.
High ticket owners.
I like this kid. You know what? This kid reminds me of me when I was younger. I had a handful of those people. You remind me when you were younger. It's all right. Come here. I got a client, right? Right. I'm going to introduce him. They're high profile. They get on the phone. Hey, I got Ari next to me. Right. He goes hard. Yeah, he goes hard. Yeah. He's all right. All right. Listen. Here, put him on. Here, speak to Ari. Those individuals, like key clients back in the day, you get that person that will introduce you to 5-10 clients. Bang. And then you get other individuals. They've got intentions. They look at you and they exploit you. You got to kind of leave the emotion out. Keep going forward.
So what would in the early days, if there's anyone listening here that's got a business, early startup, how do they avoid that exploitation? What would be your tips? And
at the end of the day, it wouldn't have hurt if I worked at another marketing agency beforehand. I probably would have learned a lot of kind of tips and tricks into armoring myself with the right deliverables and armoring myself with it's the wording you use and the way you and the way you go about your service, so you can't be exploited. Like, what you can protect yourself.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the way humans work, it's not off theory, right? You got to go out there, fall on your face. I'll have someone come in and they'll like totally kind of fully exploit me and go and white key, and they'll figure out the loophole and the rest of it. Okay, you got me.
Yeah.
You got me. Good one. You're smart. No one got me like that. You're a smart man. I'll go behind the scenes, fix it. All right, let's go again. It's got to be that mentality. You can go chase them, you can go this and that, but they do that to everyone. Yeah. Those clients out there, they do that to all their suppliers, and that's very normal. And sometimes you wonder, how do they get that far doing that? Probably sound very butthurt right now. No, this is what it is. You got to be a good sport. You got to be a good sport. Like, sometimes I get someone that they'll exploit me, and I go, I like that one.
I tell you what,
I like that one. I'll remember that. Let me fix it. Like, we're still friends. What else you got? And you actually learn off those people. Yeah. Not that you're going to go do it to the other person, but you learn to be more street smart and you figure it out.
Yeah. I find it, like, as an exercise physiologist in the health system with, like, say, private health insurance too, like, people can kind of bullshit you on, I guess, how much cover they've got as well. Like, oh, I've only got $20 will cover me for your initial consultation. So that the price is a bit steep, when in reality, their coverage is probably a lot higher and they're just trying to really get the price down.
I'm sure it happens everywhere.
It happens everywhere.
Any industry. Wherever there's money, that happens.
That's just, I guess, my confirmation bias. I guess the industry that I'm in most familiar with. But you did touch on some of those key clients you worked with. Now, I went through your website and looked at some of those. Some of those are familiar. I remember you back in the day hustling. I think your initial start was with the local business awards. And that was like, I remember when you got the microphone out and started running the gala events and that kind of thing with the microphone. But now being able to progress to a point where you're working with clients like Audi, talk to us about, everyone knows Audi. When you drive around, we see, those flashy vehicles. Obviously, everyone's very familiar with the car brand. So for you to be able to say, I've actually marketed that company, do you feel proud of yourself? And what kind of, we always say you're not content yet, but that's kind of one of those moments where you must reflect back and go, like, all of the hard work you've put in now has kind of come to this point now where you can almost enjoy all the toiling away in your bedroom and creating your own KPIs on your whiteboard in Auburn in your bedroom. And now you've got to a point where you can say, I work with Audi, I work with the Meriton, I work with all these really big companies that everyone is very familiar with.
You definitely have those quick kind of proud moments where you almost feel content for a second. You go, wow, that's really good. But then it really is okay. On to the next job, on to the next department, on to the next. I mean, where I actually get rural fulfillment is, right now we have 12 departments, and one of our departments is actually this whole podcast studio. This is one of our things where people come on and they book their podcast, and that's one of them. And where I get fulfillment is, for instance, 4 months ago, it was myself and one of my boys coming here at 8, 9, 10 p.m. on a Saturday night, and we're putting together the acoustic walls, and they're all falling off the ceiling, and we're tired, and we're trying to do our first podcast, and we're trying to figure it out, and how does this work, and how's that work, and this and this and that. And then it's those early days of trying to figure it out, and you're just pursuing it, and how does this work, and what do you do here, what do you do there? And then you very quick, after persevering, you get you figure out, you get the sales and marketing right, then we get the operations right, then we get the finance, and then it becomes this machine, and then you get the leads come in, and then you've got the right people, and they're getting paid more when they hit that, so they're motivated, and then they're making money, you're making money. And then when you get that machine going, that's a light bulb moment. I go, yes, got it. Formula. It's a formula. It really is a formula. It's not the more work that you put into something isn't a correlation of success. Like you could
go, like if you're going down the wrong track, you're just spinning, your wheels just be spinning. You're like, what you're saying, right, is you need to have the right people around you.
Yeah, you gotta work very hard. You gotta go super hard. But you also gotta, if you make a mistake, like mistakes are fine, mistakes are great, but don't make the same mistake that second, third time.
Yeah.
Like fix it and then keep going. And as long as you can do that, you'll figure it out. Like everybody will be successful if you can just give it your all and then be okay to fuck up. Yeah. I've started departments, and the first time, that first job, I'm like, shit, all right, hold it together. All right, that's not how we planned out to go. That's how we thought.
Yeah.
And then the next time we do it, like, oh, that was a good one. And then we're scoring big clients, and they're happy, and off it goes. And I think that's how it is with every business. I mean, everyone, you first start that first thing, and then you figure it out, and then you go again. And I think, as we're opening up more and more departments and sub businesses, it's becoming easier and easier because you've got that knowledge of how it all works. You're like, okay, get the sales and marketing, get the operation, get the finance, find the formula, get the good people around you, get the clients in, and bang, it's not that hard. Yeah. It's not that hard, but you need to build the brands, and you need to fall on your face, and it does not come easy. And I believe that you have to, I think if you can, in your early days, immerse yourself in the business world and go hard, you probably have a bigger window of opportunity to basically succeed. Like I believe, like if I had kids at 22, let's say I had 3 kids, and then I locked myself into a mortgage, and then I looked at it, I can't roll the dice with a specialist and say, you know what, let's get someone on $120,000, $100,000, and let's see how it goes, because that's what you got to do. Yeah, it's a roll of the dice when you're making business decisions. I don't think I could have gotten here if I did that, but if I can basically anytime I make money, if I can put it back into the business and feed it back and be okay with sacrificing today for tomorrow's betterment. Hayden, if I give you 1 cookie now, or if I give you 2 cookies tomorrow, what would you take?
Both.
Post-prep. All right, post-prep, take it all. Eat it all. Give it the whole packet. You know what I mean? It's that mentality.
It's the delayed gratification.
That's right. And where's that come from? the fitness world. That's the military mindset. You're going to lift once. You're going to do bicep curls. You're going to look.
The cookie is probably the wrong thing to use on me right now because I've got insatiable hunger. But I'd say, financially, you take, it's like Afterpay, right? You take $20 today or, compound interest, or give you whatever, invest, say $20 in an ETF, exchange traded fund. I'll give you $20 cash now, or I'll invest that $20 and you can take it out in, 2 years time with $2,000 or whatever,
It's true. It's a delayed gratification. You've got to be okay with that. And, no doubt you get individuals that I think, look at the guy who,
water specialist.
Look at KFC.
How much do you
Didn't
pay?
that dude he was like 70 years old when he cracked it and he became the guy who started McDonald's. Some people, it happens late in life.
Yeah.
They're 50, 60 years old and they persevere and they click into gear type thing. So I don't know. Who am I? I'm only 29 years old.
A lot of life to be lived.
Lot of great stories out there, but I think too, if you can get in early, like don't think when you're 18, 19, 20, I'm just going to go on a 3-year gap year, all good. No, you're going to make it really hard on yourself. Like just be consistent.
Yeah. I think you need to also consider people have different values though too. Like for some people exploring the world and everything but I think what you're saying is like that, what we discussed the other day, pick your poison, but you would prefer to do that when you're 30 with no boundaries or limitations as opposed to doing it from the get-go when you're in those really early years where you have an opportunity to like make a lot of mistakes. I think mistakes are much more accepted when you're in your kind of your 20s. Once you're like into your 30s, you got a family.
I think it's the family.
That's kind of,
if you got a kid, I think you got a duty of care.
There's an expectation, isn't there, that you're
expectation. I mean, it's duty of care. I kind of it blows my mind. If you were to have a kid, the amount of you got to support and you got to provide. You're a provider. You don't have to. For me, I can just, have a bed and I'll get meal preps and I'll just leave with. I'll have a bathroom and a bed and I'll just self-sufficient. I don't care. I don't need it. I personally, I don't need anything. Yeah. I'll be sweet. But if we got a kid or it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. Yeah, mate. That's it. We're losing it now. We've been an hour and a half in.
Gosh.
When it comes to white key marketing, what would be your biggest learning lesson you've had to, whether that be a positive or a negative? What's the biggest lesson you've had to learn in the last, say, 5 years?
The biggest lesson, I don't know if it's a lesson, but if I could have known this, from the get-go, just as long as you stay resilient, everything works out.
Yeah.
Just stay resilient. Stay resilient. You're gonna get shat on. You're gonna get kicked. You're gonna get put down. You're gonna get ripped off. You're gonna get snaked. You're gonna be lied to. And you know what? It's all gonna come at once too.
Mm.
It's one of those things where you get team members. You get when you're by yourself. You could run 20 accounts yourself, or you could do. Let's say you're a carpenter. You could do the job yourself and no problem. Still good. You do the job yourself from start to finish, just controlled operation. But when you start getting team members, like that's the difficult thing. You could have 3 team members and they could all walk out at once.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And then the world's going to crumble. And you think the world's going to crumble. And that's it. But you always figure it out. If you just stay resilient and stay a step ahead. Always stay resilient, stay a step ahead, and it always works out.
Yeah.
It always works out.
So when it comes to, as we say, website, SEO, all that kind of thing, what are some of your biggest pieces of advice for business owners if they're not already engaged in social media, or they're considering it? Maybe they're already, you know what it's like, family-run business. They give their phone, they give their account to the youngest daughter in the family, and she does the socials. You get some sketchy videos of, the butcher Pete down the road, talking to his customers. It's not eye-catching. It's not classy. People might have a look at it as they're scrolling through, but oftentimes they're not really invested in following those accounts because they're just pushing products and that. How do you create a successful social media strategy around your business that engages people? What would be your advice to small and large companies?
It definitely comes down to the circumstances of the business. Let's say you've got a business and you've got you're already everything's super, super tight. And let's say you're not up to spend more money. That's okay. Even if you're doing half-assed video inside the butcher shop and the customer's talking and there's 6 customers lining up and you're showing and Johnny's talking, having a laugh, post it.
Yeah.
Post it. Let's say the rep comes in and they're dropping off the all the special little Italian bottles of whatever it may, tag them. They'll repost it. You get out there. You can do that. You got to get out there and just make noise.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got a couple $100 to spare or a little bit more, get someone to come and do it for you. Johnny the Butcher, you focus on building relationships with the customers. Let the social media people come in and do that. Let's say you got a bit more of a budget, an extra $1,000. Get a website up. Right. Again, it depends on the circumstance of the business. There'll be some people that come to me and I'll be like, nah, probably don't spend money in the SEO. Just do that first.
Yeah.
Just make sure, get your creative right.
Yeah.
When someone looks you up, you basically want to look reputable.
Yeah.
Instagram, your website, probably 2 big platforms. Facebook too, mirrors to Instagram. No different. If there's a cafe on the other side of the road and you want to get a coffee and you look at the tiles, it's falling apart, and you look at the waiters and their arms and they couldn't, it looks like they couldn't give a shit and the rest of it. They could have been serving coffee for 20 years and they have the best coffee.
Yeah.
Look at the place next to it. The music's on point. Everything looks sweet. Everything looks clean.
LED lighting.
Which place are you going to go to? The one on the left?
Option B.
Option B. And 100. That's how it is in the digital world. People are going to go with whatever they perceive to be best. Perception is reality.
Yeah.
Or perception is bigger than reality because people will just go whatever they perceive. Reality is nothing. It's all about perception. And that's the truth in the marketing world. From a creative point of view. Now, let's say you got your shop looking really, really good, but that shop is in the middle of nowhere. No one's even walking past it. What's the point of having this beautifully fitted out shop that looks so good?
No one can
but
find
no one looks
you on
at
Google.
It. But no one looks at it. What's the point? So you need thousands of people walking up and down. Now, that's where performance comes in. So performance is how many people can be just looking at your product and your prospect clients. Let's say you got a coffee shop, not individuals that don't drink coffee. You want the right people, walking up and down. So you get your creative right, then get your performance side right, and that's where the magic happens.
For instance, if someone has got the budget to branch off into SEO, this is a kind of niche area where you've got article writing, backlinks, all that kind of thing to try and get your content or on your website or whatever it may be, newsletter, whatever it may be, to have a higher search ranking on Google. When it comes to that kind of thing, do you have any services or recommendations again for businesses in terms of how to get their, content out there? When you search on Google, oftentimes a lot of people will use Google reviews when they're looking for, say, type in a physio or butcher, give them directions, there'll be ratings. But where does SEO come into this? You hear it a lot now in today's day and age, but for those listening that aren't as well engrossed within the marketing space, what is SEO and how do businesses capitalize on that more?
Put it this way: you got your bathroom, right?
Yeah.
And the pipe bursts. What's the first thing you do?
Fix the pipe. Or clean the water. Make sure the water that's all over the bathrooms.
Yeah. Let's say, all right, you go on. All right, listen, you might know how people.
Don't call me if you've got plumbing issues.
Well, here, you go onto Google, right, and you type in, where are we? We're Plumber, Parramatta.
Right. Call
So-
a plumber.
Plumber, Parramatta. Because we're in Parramatta. I mean, I don't want a plumber from Mumbai. I want a plumber in Parramatta. So you type that in. You're going to look at the first 1, 2, 3 things. You're going to click one.
Yes.
Now, you're not going to go to page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5 and keep scrolling. SEO is about getting that you being up there when basically someone is looking for your products. You're there. Like if you had like the top rank, if you were up there like Plumber Parramatta, your phone would just be ringing nonstop. I can assure you.
Yeah.
Because let's say you've got 50,000 people, right? They've got a tap issue or this issue, that issue. What are they doing? They're jumping on the phone and they're just typing Plumber Parramatta because it's impulse.
Yeah.
That's the power of that's the power of SEO. I mean, if you've got those leads coming, you can service those leads, and you've got that sales and marketing, those operations, and that finance all down pat. You've got a big business.
Yeah. You've
just now earned yourself full uncapped earnings to the there's plumbing businesses out there doing hundreds of millions of dollars because they just they just figured out the formula. They got smart. That's what it is.
Yeah. Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast today, and thanks for bringing me into the studio. What we normally do at the end of these podcasts is I'll get you to provide one song that you're going to add to the Normless playlist. Is there a tune that you play frequently in the White Key Marketing office when employees are working?
Oh my god, it depends who's in the office.
Some
people play ratchet stuff. Some people play country music. Some people then will go to love music, and then I don't even know what they play.
They play funk now. You get into that?
Okay. Something for the Normless
playlist.
I'm into.
Do you want me to give you a bit of?
I'm into Afro House.
I'll just tell you give you a list of so far what we got in the playlist, just to give you a bit of a gauge on the flavor. Andrew Churongo, X Gun Give It To You, DMX, My Way by Elvis Presley was Lee Priest. Last Night by Morgan Wallen. There's a bit of a mix, like you got country and old school R&B, a bit of Elvis in there, so it's really a nightmare if you want to listen to this try and keep a consistent theme.
In the summer, right? You catch me on Sydney Harbour, right, on my boat, and what I'm doing is I'm listening to African. This one I was listening to yesterday. He's just playing a what? This is called Kite Zo Lalu Remix.
What's it called?
I don't know. Screenshot that, whatever that is. Afro house mixes, right? The summer just hit. It was the first day out on the boat. I got a taste of blood again.
Very good.
I was laying back looking at the sunset and I was listening to my Afro
House.
I
was laughing.
Put that one on.
I was laughing at the start of this podcast because Ari was saying, when you're working your 9 to 5 and on the weekends you get to go and have a picnic on Sydney Harbour.
You're looking at me
with your cheese.
I saw you on your boat yesterday.
Mate, fuckwit, I saw you on your boat cruising around the sunset. I was like,
hey, it's been like 8 months.
Shit.
It's been 8 months. Okay?
Mate, cheers to Normless Performance.
Cheers. No, thank you for having me. Thank you.